You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keetin.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Once Upon a Time in Wonderland After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Once Upon a Time in Wonderland After Show.
Hello, welcome to our after show for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Hello.
Episode 11. I am Jacque Borowski. With me this time is actually Keetin.
I'm back, guys. I'm so sorry I've been gone. And
I called Tiana Keetin last week.
Yeah. We look so much alike.
You guys are like twins.
We're like
it was
twinsies.
hard.
And then, see how you get confused.
Yeah, right? I was so sleepy. And then we have Marisa.
Hello, everyone.
In the booth.
And I forgot my notes, and so did Keetin. So this is going to be...
Fear not.
But Marisa has her notes. So
mine.
This could be an interesting show. I tend to like look down at my notes every so once in a while for like pointers. So if I'm all over the place, I apologize.
But can I tell you, I said it when I walked in today, this is my favorite episode of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland ever. I thought it was...
Why do you think it was your favorite? Or why do you believe
even when I was watching it, because it felt like a Once Upon a Time regular episode. Because I felt like the way the story, the two kind of parallel stories were going on with the flashback and the present day, the way they would flash back, the jumping in between, the pace of it felt more Once Upon a Time.
I agreed. The beats were very similar to Once.
And I mean, it did help that our lovely Cora was back, and they also visited Storybrooke. But yeah, something about this episode it just felt, I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been wanting to see. Like, because I knew you have it in you. You're created by the same people. I knew you had it in you. Like, here it is. And it gives me hope that maybe if a second season happens, that, they will just improve.
And I think it's because the stakes are higher in this one. They're higher to me than they have been previously. Because Alice is going to end up with Cyrus. In this one, there was a lot of... I felt like a lot of opening of... leaving the world open for more unexpected things. And that's what we like, is unexpected surprises.
Absolutely.
Or even sad surprises.
But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. So we start off with Cyrus and Alice. I know I'm actually, from what's written on our board, I'm going backwards now, but whatever. We start with Cyrus and Alice, and Cyrus is at what I like to call the cantina, because it just reminds me of the cantina in Star Wars. And Alice has shrunken, and it did make me a little sad that we didn't see her, like, drink some potion or eat a mushroom to shrink as a reference.
Girl, they don't have money for that type of CGI stuff going on.
I know, but I would just like to have seen that as a reference. They could even have done this. She's biting into something, and then they cut, and then she's tiny. They could have done that.
Things.
That's quick editing,
Yeah. So go ahead.
I loved seeing Cyrus kind of back in the world that has been away from for a very long time, and I loved that the caterpillar immediately was like, Genie, and he's like, actually not anymore. And the caterpillar's like, should I feel bad for you or should I congratulate you, basically? And I thought that was kind of a funny thing to bring up, because as happy, like, how does Cyrus truly feel about not being the genie? I know he's free now, but with this freedom, he's lost a lot of his magic, a lot of, like, the power that he held. Now he's just a regular guy.
Yeah, but his motivations are still kind of the same. Even when he was a genie, he always wanted to reunite with his family. Now that he's not a genie, that's still, it's more, he releases that burden. Now he has the same motivation to keep going after his family.
This is why I fell in love with Cyrus in the last episode, because I explained last week that I wasn't interested in Cyrus at all until the last episode, when I found out he was sort of like, this is so cliche, but because he was a bad boy and had some kind of like badass history and wasn't such a like goody two shoes, I was like, oh, Cyrus.
Somebody's into bad boys.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a cliche, but it's true. Cyrus was, I mean, it's not necessarily that it's a bad boy, but it's just that he was less boring when you saw his flashbacks. You were like,
he still bugged me last week.
Oh, I loved him last week. And then this week.
him last week.
And then this week, he's walking around with a new kind of Cyrus swagger, which I'm like, oh, my crush on Cyrus is now really deepening because he has some swagger now that he's not a genie. And I don't know, maybe it's me, but I think he fights better too. Like with that fight in the bar, it was completely unnecessary as I was noticing. I was like, I get that you're trying to kind of do like a sleight of hand thing where it's like you start a fight, but you pick up the compass. So
but he already had it.
It was
too freaking easy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like the caterpillar just sits on top like of a stage with a bunch of like mystical not expensive, but like very valuable kind of objects below it, like where people can just go in. I mean, I understand Alice was small, but come on, nobody's guarding it. Like, are you serious? Like the caterpillar doesn't seem like a dumb guy. He's a guy who's been around Wonderland. He knows the magic that's in Wonderland and like, you know, the sleight of hand that people do. Cyrus just comes in and woo woo woo. Alice goes in, grabs the compass. He didn't even need to punch anybody. And then he just frickin' starts a fight. And he literally already, like, Alice was already right there. I just didn't get it.
Actually, I will say this though. That part didn't bother me so much because I don't think he saw it coming that Alice would shrink down to go and steal it. I didn't think he saw that coming. Also, I think there was a level of distraction where he's trying to talk to him about the compass while Alice is already stealing it. He wouldn't see that coming. Also, the caterpillar smokes a lot of opium. I'm not so sure that he is on the up and up about what is happening around him.
Yeah.
And for me, I just wish the fight was more obvious as a distraction than it was like happening simultaneously, because then it kind of looks like Cyrus just wanted to punch people. And I'm
a
like,
lot of pent up angst.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get it. Like, your fighting is awesome, and you look cool doing it. But like, what's the reason for this if you really already have the compass?
You mean Jack Sparrow's compass? I'm sure you've talked about this.
Well,
I
only points
referenced it
north.
to the Pocahontas spinning arrow compass, but
it is.
I mean,
Jack Sparrow's
I
compass.
honestly didn't think anything of the fight. I saw it as a distraction to get out of there, and that's all it was. Nothing more.
Nothing more, nothing less.
So then their story. Let's do the Will and Anastasia. It's so weird because these all kind of, and again, this episode was really good about blending all the stories together.
Yeah, because we've had Alice and Cyrus got separated from Will and Anastasia, who got captured by Jafar and the Jabberwocky. So their stories kind of connected last week, and Alice and Will are over here. The rabbit has been MIA for a while,
right?
For a little bit. I mean, we saw him briefly when Anastasia went to talk to him,
and we know he's actually trying to build up that army for her,
which is nice. Look at you, rabbit.
I think the rabbit is a much undervalued character in this series.
Yeah, just don't do the rabbit any harm. I mean, what has he done to you? He can be a really powerful ally.
It's true.
Even if he is small, it doesn't matter.
And notice he did comment, like, he makes this really quick comment that he's like, they need a leader, that's someone they can depend on. And I'm like, oh, come on, we have to, Alice, you're clearly the leader of the revolution, and that's what he's trying to talk about, and you're trying to do something else, which is save Will, and I understand that because he's your friend, and he's really, really cute.
He's really, really hot.
I know. I really
and
like
he's
him.
really funny, and
he's the bestest.
Hashtag Team Will.
Team Will.
Bestest.
So now we get flashbacks to Will and Anna or Anastasia, which a couple of our viewers, I think they saw like a hidden nugget in the last episode where it confirmed to them that it was Cinderella's Anastasia. I didn't catch that.
What?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
No, I picked up on that last week. She's one of the stepsisters.
When did it say that?
I can't remember exactly what it was.
That was in the preview that was shown?
No. That was in
it was last week.
It was in last week's episode. They referenced like she referenced her sisters, or like how one of her sisters like
treated horribly.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can't remember exactly, but You guys, if you remember exactly, please comment.
Yeah.
Let us know. But yes, she did. She is absolutely the stepmother's, one of her daughters, one of the stepsisters, Anastasia, which in the original Disney movie, Anastasia was one of the stepsisters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
what,
realized
Anastasia and Drusilla?
Trying to think of Drusilla, sorry. But yeah, I just keep thinking back to the Disney, and I know this is the more modern day interpretation, but Anastasia and the Disney character is a redhead.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying.
like,
I'm just saying.
Once has made a lot of
I know.
a lot of different character interpretations.
Okay, they have alluded back to the Cinderella storyline, but I think maybe it's to throw us off. I mean, we haven't had that set confirmation that it is the Cinderella storyline. I mean, we've seen Cinderella in actual ones series. If Anastasia and Cinderella ever met up, and then they do recognize each other, then we get the confirmation that, oh yeah, okay, she is the Anastasia from the Cinderella story.
Yeah, I would, I don't know, I would like to see that happen, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Now, we might see it in a flashback,
right,
but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime in the future. But before we go on, we just need to give a huge shout out to one of our creators, Maria Menounos. She has a great new reality show on Oxygen called Chasing Maria Menounos, and you guys can check it out here.
Tuesdays on Oxygen.
I'm Maria Menounos, and my life can get a little crazy. I host Extra. I'm an actor, producer, dancer, wrestler, and a lot of other things. I live with Kevin, my boyfriend of 15 years. Do you really love me?
I would say that I'm in serious like.
And my parents. Yep, I just said I live with my parents.
You drive me crazy.
You drive me crazy. My parents want us to get married.
You both love each other. Get married.
Kevin and I don't. I am going to get married when I want to get married. I think I want kids. Kevin definitely doesn't want them now.
This is being pushed on to us.
And of course, my parents wanted them yesterday.
This year, you gotta have it.
And I have a house full of people counting on me financially. If I take my eye off the ball, everything can fall apart.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or wants us to do. It's what we want to do.
Everyone thinks that they know what's best for me, but I'm really the only one. I have got to figure things out.
Chasing Maria Menounos is so new. Every Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, starting March 18, only on Oxygen.
Hi, we're back. You needed that official confirmation. Hi. So Will and Anastasia in the past. Anastasia, we see her right after she is queen, and she's meeting with Cora, who is, I'm assuming, the queen from the neighboring town, since she's the Queen of Hearts and
the Red Queen, the Red King.
The Red Queen and the Red King. So I'm assuming that when we first started the show, we thought maybe she took over for Cora or something like that, but apparently they're just neighboring
kingdoms, similar to the different kingdoms in the Enchanted Forest, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the Queen of Hearts is from Alice in Wonderland. The Red Queen is from Through the Looking Glass, which is the second Alice, second sequel, I guess you could say, in that franchise.
So we learn that Cora is not liked by the Red King, and that she is trying to teach the Red Queen, or trying to teach the Red Queen magic.
I'm so glad we finally got this backstory, because we always knew Anastasia had a little bit of magical powers, not as because I always wondered why Jafar wanted to team up with her, like why he couldn't have just overtaken her, figure something out. I don't know, but I'm very glad. Like, this makes so much sense.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I get you now. I get you, Anastasia. And the way that they showed their relationship develop and kind of see Anastasia getting kind of brought under Cora's spell made so much sense. And I loved it. And I loved their chemistry. And I loved their scenes together.
I love the chemistry, too. I felt like at the beginning of the flashbacks, you saw the Red Queen Anastasia. She's in white. She's obviously good at this point.
Virginal.
And sort of good. She left her boyfriend to marry
up.
At
this stage, she's still good. She hasn't been corrupted yet. And now we get the influence of the Queen of Hearts, and then her outfit starts changing. She starts becoming more red, learns magic. But yes, I agree with the chemistry. It was great. to
And
watch.
you really saw, like, you know, two great actresses working off each other. I don't really think we've been able to see the Red Queen shine. And I just I know you hate on the Red Queen, and I love her. I think she's great.
She's not that good of an actress to me. Crying does not make you a good actress.
I don't think that's why I think she's a good actress.
But I will say that I love Barbara Hershey and everything she does. She's so
Yes.
delightfully wicked.
Agreed.
And I'm also like, Barbara Hershey has like 3 daughters now. She has 2 actual daughters and then now like a daughter figure. And I'm like, it's so interesting to me that she, with all of this wickedness, she really is obsessed with like having a protege.
Yeah, and it's weird because, you know, she kind of threw, oh my God, Regina to the wayside. She obviously threw Zelina to the wayside.
I think it's
she
because
even had
Regina stood up to her, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's wanted to find somebody that she can kind of mold their mind and not have them question her and do everything like that she suggests. So that she has them doing her dirty work.
Yeah.
And Cora is very manipulative. She's saying, she's like, I saw so much potential in you. You want to throw this away for some guy who broke your heart, and just like twisting that around on her to make her feel bad. That reverse psychology.
But a lot of it is true. Like Anastasia and Cora
But
had
she
very
uses it to her
similar
advantage.
upbringing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had very similar. They both started out like as kind of peasants. They both kind of manipulated their way into royalty and power. And, you know, obviously Anastasia was on the path for good, but Cora got her kind of claws into her, which kind of has turned her around a little bit. And it made me so happy that, like, she was going to go back for Will. She was going to go back for Will.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I love Anastasia. Like, I hated that they, like, completely redeemed her character for me and then
Killed her off.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
We don't
She's
know.
actually killed. But the thing is, I loved how it shows.
They
how,
did that to Lizard, by the way.
No,
Lizard
but-
didn't need to be redeemed.
No, I loved how they showed how it all really technically went down, because they were going to go after each other, and then it was the Cora's influence to break them apart, to keep them separated. And she did the exact same thing with Regina and Daniel. And so it just goes to show how evil Cora is, and her power and influence with people and being together with the true loves.
I mean, she freaking got, well, this is what I kind of like, I watched this, but I kind of missed a little bit. Did she convince Will to give up his heart, or did he chose to give up his heart? Okay.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really fast.
Yeah.
Really,
that
really
seemed
fast.
very out of character,
I'm
too.
heartbroken. Here, take my heart.
I think, though, here's the thing. That part also didn't seem fast to me, in the sense that she had already left him for the king. So he had been continuously suffering. And I'm assuming that this wasn't the first time he's come to the castle to plead for her to come back to him. And so my assumption is that his heart has been broken continuously, and he keeps having this feeling.
I want to disagree with you.
Why?
I think that it was the first time he came to the castle. I don't think she had been at the castle for very long when he showed up. I think it was a very quick courtship. Once she got into the castle. I mean, the original time we saw that the original flashback of how she became queen, it was literally a day or a night. That
It was like 10 seconds.
That, like,
He,
the
like,
king brought her
turned
up, and
around
he's
and came
like,
out.
I want to introduce you to your new queen of Wonderland, or whatever. So I think this is the first time she's seeing Will, and I think this is the only time that she's getting confronted by him about the whole situation.
But I also think Will wears his heart on his sleeve, and he has big emotions. So he had already felt rejected when she went and married the king. And so then it's like the double rejection of offering her the second chance. She's not coming for it.
She hadn't married the king yet.
She's living in his palace, and she hasn't married him.
When Will went to go, he said it's not too late.
Yeah.
Well, but they were actually married. But he says you can still leave right now while we're still in love.
I don't know, because Cora had come to go to the wedding, and I felt like one of the things that like meant that she was the new queen, that they actually got married, was she started wearing the crown. She was not wearing the crown at all in this entire until we saw that she rejected to go follow Will. Then a day happened, and her and Cora were hanging out, and she was doing the magic thing. I don't think she has been married yet. I think this is the night before the wedding.
No,
I don't know. That's how I feel about
I'm
it.
pretty sure they were married when Will went to go back to the castle to try to get her back.
But she was like looking at her wedding dress and stuff before she decided to leave.
No, that was the first time she was with Cora, and Cora was telling her about the marriage and getting married. And then they got married. We didn't see the actual marriage, but then we saw Will come back to the castle after the fact, and he's begging for her.
Either way, he's been rejected twice.
Okay.
He was rejected when she went with him in the first place, and then he was rejected because he came back and tried to plead for her, and she didn't show up. And so because she didn't show up, it's like he has such high emotions, she didn't show up, so he feels heartbroken, so he just wants to not deal with it.
Coward. I mean, but it's funny that that without his heart, Will is very brave and he's very noble, but with his heart, he's a coward.
But to give it to Cora,
that's why I think he's a coward.
Well, when you're heartbroken, you just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, so this begs another question, is what happened in between the time where Cora has his heart, he gets it back, because we know Alice helped him get it back. We know he is essentially the Knave of Hearts. So Alice gets his heart back and then hides it in Storybrooke.
I want to know, this is what I want to figure
How
out.
does
How did
Alice
he get the title of Knave of Hearts?
Yeah, that's
Good
what I want to know
question.
too.
That's,
And I want to know how he got his heart back.
Yeah, and I wonder if he got it back by going to work for Cora. I'm wondering if, I know I'm kind of jumping into a prediction, but I feel like if he went and started working for Cora because he didn't really know what to do now that he didn't have a heart, and she obviously can control him now because she has his heart. You know, she's the Queen of Hearts. That's how I think he became the Knave of Hearts.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
So I hope we see that story soon.
Yeah, maybe. Or another thing, the Red Queen, she knows how to rip out hearts too, right?
I don't know.
Have you seen that?
I don't think
we
so.
haven't
Have you
seen
seen
her
that?
rip out
Okay.
a heart.
Maybe, okay, so maybe it's not the Red Queen. Maybe Regina had something to do with it when she was having her tiff with her mother. Maybe she, like, reclaimed a lot of hearts that Cora took during those years, and somehow, maybe that'd be cool if
We
had
know
Regina
Will was
cross
hiding
over
out in
into it.
Storybrooke.
Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe Regina had influence on getting the heart back, and we didn't know. I'm just throwing things out there. I'm speculating.
I like it.
P.S.
They are in Storybrooke, so it's not too far-fetched.
But they're in Storybrooke. This is something I was really excited to talk about. They're in Storybrooke like when Storybrooke first started. Like this is like back in like the early 80s, I think. When did Storybrooke start? Because all those cars were super old. We didn't see anybody that we recognized.
I believe it was at 87.
But did you notice? It was weird because Will's apartment was all modern technology and all modern, but all the cars in Storybrooke and that we saw, and it just didn't seem as new as it does in Once.
I mean, Storybrooke itself is not a hip happening town. I don't think the cars were a reference because we've been clocked on this before. In the beginning, Cinderella, it's after her pregnancy, so we know that it has to happen sometime during the second season. So I think this is actually contemporary Storybrooke, just because the first reference we have of the series in Storybrooke is Cinderella post-pregnancy.
Yeah, and we've been told before that it's not before Storybrooke was Storybrooke. It was during like the mid-season of Once already going on.
So it's sometime during the second season. I think it was just that because it was at night. And
yeah, I don't know. Something about it, it just didn't feel like the Storybrooke that we know and love. But Will's apartment, nice apartment, Will. Damn, look at that bachelor pad.
I do love having the characters who have not been in like our contemporary era interacting with it. The flashing of the lights is killing me because usually people just do a click click. Oh, that's weird. But I loved how Cyrus was like obsessed with it. He goes into the next room and he kind of clicks the light and then he keeps flicking them. And I'm like, I appreciate that Once Upon a Time in Wonderland because that is realistic. If someone had seen that for the first time, they would be like, this is magic.
This is the coolest. I mean, I was even thinking about it when Alice, because even when Alice was like, oh my God, it's a box set display. Like, has eyes come out? I was like, yes.
What is
that
this
would
magic?
be like magic.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of crazy that you don't even think about it because it's such second nature. But like, that's absolutely magical.
Yes.
Electricity is magic.
Yeah.
You know,
There is magic in this world.
The Muggle community is amazing.
It is amazing. Ron Weasley's dad says so. But yeah, I love those little details. And I also love, did Will draw that image of Anastasia? That's a very well-drawn caricature.
I thought so too.
I assume that
Will is talented. So they find the heart and they are able to bring it back with them. But if we, I guess we could, well.
Again, I thought it was too easy. It was just everything that has been so easy.
It's in the first place that you look.
For Cyrus and Alice.
Yeah, I thought the heart, because we see Cora has the heart. I thought it was in the vault with all the hearts.
Yeah, that's right. I thought it was
and
gonna be.
it wasn't. So, and then again, going back to Jacque's question, how the heck did the Knave get his own heart back?
Yeah.
And then put it into his own, hide it in his own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gaping hole there.
There's literally a gaping hole in the wall, a gaping hole in his chest. There's a lot of gaping holes in this episode.
Yeah.
So they come back to Wonderland, and Jafar traps them. And
too easy.
This,
like,
okay. Last episode, we were wondering. We're like, okay, because we know Cyrus has to be able to find his mom now that he knows his mom is alive, and apparently the compass points to wherever
your heart's most desired, which is the same thing that Jack Sparrow's compass did.
Yes, it is Jack Sparrow's compass.
Jack Sparrow's compass. Where's Jack?
I know.
Why is the rum gone?
I'm pretty sure if they can't afford CGI, they can't afford Johnny Depp.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I mean, I could go walk on Hollywood Boulevard. I can find plenty of lookalikes.
I was like, well, Johnny Depp's salary, they're already capped out.
Right. So yeah, that was the part that I got to, and I was like, that is too easy. Because I wanted some sort of struggle versus just like, oh, my compass is pointing towards here. Like, maybe if his compass pointed towards the castle and he got there, but also like, Jafar, how did you instantly know they were there? Do you have like some sort of bunny tracking device?
Yeah, that's, I just don't get, like, it's like, why wouldn't you find them like that with somebody? I just don't get how, like, sometimes it's like the hardest thing in the world and I will never find them. And, but then other times like, poof, hi, what's up? Like,
yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, like Jafar magically found them instantly, and then the snake didn't fight him, which I'm also curious about that whole aspect because it's like it seems that the staff has to do Jafar's bidding. So how in that instance did it manage the amount of power it takes to not do that?
Maybe because of love, true love, like because that's her son.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. At first, I thought that Cyrus was going to be able to control it, and that Cyrus started controlling it because it's like I felt like his mother was smart enough as a magician and knew Jafar well enough to know that he could probably turn on her. That's what I truly believe. And so I felt like there could have been a loophole, and if he like ever tried to put a spell on her, that like if like her sons could save her, like something along those lines.
I think it might have been that we've seen. And once when Cora tries to go after Emma's heart, but then she finally taps into that magic and resists. So I think it's kind of like the same way. Once you realize who you're facing, and you know it was Amara realizing that that was her son in front of her, she had that power to tap in to resist Jafar's bidding. And I think it was just like the power of magic, whatever it can do, and it backfires on Jafar. But I liked how it happened because when Jafar was using it, the eyes glowed red.
Yeah.
And then when it was Amara's doing, it was yellow.
And
I
now
like
they're
that.
still yellow.
And then, so his staff kind of gets ejected from him, right? And then he manages to steal the heart, though, and runs away with the heart, which, oh, by the way, I love this actor. he's acting his heart out of this role, even though like he has to wear like a goofy costume and an amazing blowout every day of the week.
Nassim?
Yeah, I love his blowout, and he rocks it. Like he knows he's wearing this kind of like elaborately silly costume, but he just rocks it. He owns it. You believe he's Jafar.
He's so good. I loved him in Lost, and I don't think he can't do any wrong for me. Like he can't. He's so good.
He's so believable to me as this role. And then I love the way it was kind of like an old school like cartoon villain where he like grabs the box, kind of looks around, and then just like runs off. And I'm like, that was the perfect exit. He was so sketchy about it because he was like, oh, well, I lost my staff. I still got this, though.
So and this is what I want to double check. That means all of his powers, like, he can't do magic without that staff. Am I correct?
I don't think so. No, I think he can.
He can do, like, little things, but he can't.
Yeah.
The Darth Vader chokehold.
Yeah, and he
can use the Force.
He knows magic. I mean, it's
kind of
magic
like, even when...
It's like losing your wand, but that doesn't make you less powerful. I mean, you still have the knowledge and all that. So if you're a wizard and you lose your wand, you still know everything.
You say Accio wand. That's what you say, and the wand will come to you.
Or you steal somebody else's wand.
Right?
Or you find the Elder Wand.
He was taught magic. Magic is a thing to be taught. You don't have to have materialistic things to execute magic.
I think it just made him more powerful.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
It's her power plus his power. But she was teaching him
and she was
magic.
Much more powerful than him.
Yes. Yeah. And she was teaching him magic already. So he was able to do it before she turned into his snake staff. And part of me was like, now that they have the snake staff, they're like kind of walking around it like, how do we get her out of it? I'm like, why? Like, couldn't they just break it? Like, I don't know.
I think it'd be too simple if they just broke it.
Well, everything else was simple this episode.
Well, no, that is true. But the way we saw Jafar turn Amara into a staff, it was
she
magic.
Turned into it, yeah.
So I think you have to use magic to reverse it.
Yeah.
Instead of just breaking it like a twig.
And then they have to get the water from her, and then they have to get the other brothers, and then they have to return the water.
Yep.
How scary was that
Nyx?
fate or what? Yeah, that thing that scared the crap. I did not like when the flashbacks came and I saw it again because literally the scariest character I've ever seen in any of the Once Upon a Time things. Like,
that is what I want my bad guys to be. I want them to be so scary. I want to pee my pants.
Like I wanted to pee
That's
my
how
pants
scary.
every time she rose out of the water. I was like, this is the girl from The Ring. Like F this. I don't want to watch.
We
we
said Grudge last time, but the Grudge and the Ring characters look so similar to me. It just, you know.
And someone did comment that the girl from The Ring was drawn in a well, so that makes more sense.
That makes more sense. But
Than
they
the
do
Grudge.
look similar, guys.
Yeah, they do.
No. No.
I loved it. I love my bad guys to be super creepy.
Hated her.
Like Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin I can deal with, but she was just too much. Too much. No redeeming things that made me
She's
I
one
was
of
just
my favorites.
I was like, you scare me and I need you to go away. Cyrus, I want get rid of her, please. Give her the water back. Why would you take her water? I don't understand.
So they go back to the castle, Jafar does, and he we see a little rekindling. As much as you can rekindle romance when you're missing a heart, they're having a kind of pun intended, heart-to-heart conversation, Will and Anna, and she never tells him though that she didn't mean to leave him there. Did you catch that? They're having that, and she doesn't really exactly tell him, "I didn't mean to leave you there."
Or hey, Cora made me do
right?
it. Right?
Wouldn't you think that would have happened in there? I'm like, she just doesn't say. Why didn't you say that? So then Jafar puts his heart back in, and he has all these feelings, and then he kisses her in a very magical cinematic style, a.k.a. she sucks his face off like a fish.
I agree. What was that? What was that?
I'm like, what?
Oh,
I didn't know if it was supposed to be true love's kiss. I don't know. It was weird. It was it was weird.
It was cheesy cinematic weird.
It was just leading up to it. It didn't even make sense because, I mean, yes, they're having, I guess you could say, a heart-to-heart, but Anastasia asked for forgiveness, but we see Will, he's still, resistant of it.
He doesn't have a heart.
I know, but he's still resistant of it. He put his heart back in, and the first thing he does is go over to Anastasia and kiss her all cinematic style. What? really?
I think we're supposed to take from that once his heart is back, it's like all those feelings rush back to him, and then he kisses her, aka she sucks him in with her ginormous fish lips.
Leave her alone.
And then
Emma Rigby is beautiful.
And then the other part that made me so amused by this sequence is that the backdrop literally fell away.
Where did the bars go?
I was like, they went to somewhere else. They went somewhere completely else. There was like shiny lights and everything, and they're out of prison. And then magically they're back in prison. And I was like, oh, that happened. And then Jafar, because he wants to quote unquote make sure that his heart is in there and it's real, he stabs Anastasia. Which for me, I'm like, good riddance, and now Will can find somebody new. I'm gonna ship him with Ruby. You heard it here.
No.
I'm already shipping him with Ruby.
No.
Because Ruby ate her boyfriend, so.
But Ruby's not coming back next season. At least I don't think she is as a
She had like a really brief cameo in a couple episodes ago.
Well, she's on a new show right now, the actress is, and she's a series regular on a new show, so I feel like it's gonna.
But sometimes in your contracts you can do guest
I don't
appearances.
I don't know. We'll see. But a guest appearance is not going to be the love interest of Will, right? I don't know. Anyways, I am so sad they killed off the Red Queen. I'm angry.
Well, all right.
I don't think she's dead.
Though.
I don't think she's dead.
For me, though, if she is, here's the thing. I don't like it when series can't, like, they have so many deaths that death never becomes, they have so many people coming back that death never becomes permanent. Mm-hmm. I liked that they kept, even though I loved the sheriff character, I loved him.
Graham.
I like
Graham.
that. I
50
like
Shades of Grey, Graham.
I
But
liked
you know
that
what?
they.
I'm okay with that.
I liked that they kept him dead because it was real. It's like, this is actual real collateral damage. This happens to him. He dies and he's gone.
No,
there's
I agree
consequences.
I completely agree with that. I don't like it when shows kill off main characters and then you see them in the very next episode.
Like
I was
Rumple?
Like, what's the point?
Okay, Rumple's magic.
No, but was like,
and he was
what
3
the
episodes
point
later.
Of having a dramatic death when we're gonna just see them in the next week's episode. It's just like I feel like it's wasted on that.
Yeah.
And then then it demeans everything that just happened.
Right.
See, you say this now, and we've all heard that they're gonna kill off a major character in Once Upon a Time at the end of the season, and we're all gonna be crying, and we're gonna be like, please bring him back, please bring him back, and they won't. I don't think they will, and I want them to bring the Red Queen back. I understand that you say yes, it makes it more real, but like, don't kill off fan favorites. Like, come on.
No, okay, the Red Queen is the fan favorite?
No, she
Please
might
tweet
be
us and let us know.
Technically dead, but they're not going to get rid of her. Like, we're never going to see her again. We see her in the next week's episode. She's just probably lying there like a dead corpse, but that doesn't mean that she's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really were going to kill her, then we wouldn't see her in the next week's episode.
I don't know. For me, like, when you kill off a character like that, it gives new purpose to your main characters. It's like, if she's not really dead, then it's just like, well, what happened with that? You know, I would like to see Will given some sort of new purpose or some sort of new fuel under his fire. And that would be, if she was really dead, it would give Will the kind of like oomph to fight Jafar. Which is what needs to happen. Somebody needs to fight Jafar.
I really want him to rub the bottles of Cyrus's brothers.
Yes.
I want all the genies to come out.
Yes, I do too.
Well, they're slowly getting together because now Cyrus is with his mother, even though he doesn't know it. But they're finally like starting to gather together.
Yeah. And I think Cyrus has an idea, like an inkling that like because you, again, sometimes him and Alice's interaction are like it's like monkeys being like, whoop. like what is going on here? What is this? And like that shot with the compass and I don't like. They just have these realizations together, which are just like, oh my god.
That's why they're meant for each other.
It's like, oh honey, bless your heart.
You poor thing.
You poor thing.
My thing is that there was a line when they were talking tonight's episode that Cyrus said it so quickly. He was like, that one time when you would have still been in the asylum and I would have still been here. I was like, did they really go over that? Did Alice really tell Cyrus that she was in the asylum now? 'Cause
I don't
we've
think
been-
that we saw, but I think no. Didn't she tell him that when they were at the well for the ring girl?
I'm trying to remember.
Nah, I don't think it
No,
happened. I think it
I don't
happened a
think
while ago if she did it.
Okay,
No, because he didn't know. He didn't know about the asylum up until the point of the ring girl. But she might have told him after she learned his secret. She would have to tell him her secret.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I was like, now, because we've been talking about when will Alice ever tell Cyrus that she was in asylum? And then tonight we see Cyrus knows about it. So did that conversation happen and we just didn't see it?
Yeah, that's a conversation that I wish we could have seen more thoroughly. Like, hey, dude, back where I'm from, nobody believed me about how much I loved you, and I literally went to an insane asylum, a cuckoo palace, because of it. Like, I don't know, but I understand. I think you guys are right. Like, I'm seeing more of their chemistry and how like they're kind of meant for each other now, because they both are a little. They both have very similar qualities.
Yes, they do have similar qualities.
They're not that couple that balance each other out. They're that couple that's very similar.
Yeah. I do, like, as a final point, though, I do want to talk about how Anastasia, I totally forgot this, but Anastasia also wanted to change the laws of magic because she learns from Cora the laws of magic, and she learns that you can't change the past. And that was one of the things that she wanted to do. She wanted to make up for her mistakes. And
can't change the past, can't
make someone fall in love with you, and you can't bring back the dead.
Yeah.
See, I want to know, I mean, I don't really understand what Jafar's motive is yet. I don't think we really know. It's like we know what he's doing. We don't know why he wants to do that.
His father plays a big deal in that.
Yeah, I think his father, I think also his mother. Didn't he have a mother figure or talk about his mother before?
His mom died.
No, I know his mom died, but I think it has to do with his childhood.
Definitely his childhood. His father is a big motivational part in it. Because
Yeah,
he's
he
such
wouldn't
an
have his
a-hole.
father stay alive and be there right now unless
Right.
that was the case.
But going back to the rules of magic or the laws of magic, that one of them is like, you can't change the past, and then you see the scene where Anastasia's like, I wish I could have changed the past, even though she knows the rules of magic, and she wants to break it and change. She wants to change the past, and she didn't even want to go to Wonderland anymore.
So now we know her motivation.
If she had the option to go back in the past, she would have even gone to Wonderland. So just that. So I think that's going to be, maybe that gets into predictions, but that's her motivation to keep going after.
That was one of my favorite moments, too. The idea that you're, like, she, instead of choosing, it was a nice redemptive moment before her death. And that's another thing. It's like, I hate it when characters get this big redemption, you kill them off, and then you just bring them back. It's like, you made their redemption worth nothing. And so she has this huge redemptive moment where it's not like, okay, well, I would stop it at point X where I still have crown jewels, or I'd stop it at point B where I can still have magic. She would stop it before any of that, which I thought was very telling for that character, because it means that it's like, it's a total redemption. It's like, I would rather just go back to being you and me and just be a normal person.
Yeah. Before we get into predictions, because I know we have to wind down here, can we talk a little bit about the Jabberwocky? Because she kind of played a little... It's literally like Jafar's cat.
Yes.
Like, she's just, like,
it
laying in the
is
back.
like
and she's
Jafar's
like,
cat.
"Meow." Like, I just, like, she's so distracting in every single scene she's in. Because I just, like, look at her and, like, props to her for, like, you know, keeping the attention. But literally, I'm like, are you doing a downward dog right now, stretch, like, on a piano or something? Like, behind Jafar as he's, like, doing some magic? Like, I don't know.
I have a prediction about the Jabberwocky.
I like this evil woman, but I can't take her seriously. I don't quite understand how she works. I
don't understand what she is.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And this goes back to something we said in the last episode. I don't feel frightened of her. It's like, I understand that her power is supposed to be in your mind, but it's because it's an intangible power like that, it's hard to demonstrate to an audience.
I agree.
And then the problem that comes with that is, you see a person who looks like a person who doesn't seem to be doing much until Jafar tells her to do it. Well, if you're this all-powerful Jabberwocky and you're frightening, like, all I see is people being scared of you, but Jafar's really just telling you what to do. So it becomes very confusing where you're like, I don't understand why everyone's scared of this person.
I agree. I completely agree. And in that scene with, I felt the scene when Alice and Will came, I mean, not Alice and Will, but Alice and Cyrus came into the jail cell was almost like useless.
It was hilarious. They're like, oh, there's someone there. And they're like, oh. They run to the tunnels.
I don't know. It just felt like a filler scene, and I understand it wanted to introduce them to the Jabberwocky, them two being Alice and Cyrus, but I mean, Jabberwocky, like frickin' do something bigger. Like I don't know. And why didn't she pick up on Cyrus's fears?
I think
just Alice's.
I think because she was trying to figure out information about Will. So it seems that and not that I can understand any of this anyway, because it's so nebulous about what the Jabberwocky can and cannot do. But I think it seemed that in the scene after she explains, oh, well, she picked up on me because I was looking for Will or worried about Will. And maybe it was because it was honed in about Will, which is what her concern was at the moment. But I'm like, what does the Jabberwocky want? Why is she here with Jafar? She doesn't seem to care.
I really like her costume, though. I think that's cool.
Well, Tiana keeps saying that she's Lady Gaga.
She is Lady Gaga.
She's Lady Gaga. Absolutely Lady Gaga.
Yes.
Had to say it once.
Complete with very big wig.
Yes.
Love her hair. She's kind of like Kesha.
She's like
I think
Kesha.
she's more Kesha
If
than
Kesha and Lady Gaga had a baby, it would be the Jabberwocky.
That makes sense, actually. Actually, it makes more sense to me now when you put it like that than it did before. So thank you for clearing this up for me.
You're welcome. That's what we do here on AfterBuzz.
Terrible.
You guys want to get into predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict that Anastasia is really dead, and that will find someone else, or it will cause him. It will be the catalyst for him to go on another mission to do something else.
I don't want Anastasia to be dead. I'm worried that they're like, I feel like this season she might be fully dead because I feel like they might be preparing because they don't know whether they're getting picked up next season or not. So maybe they're preparing for like maybe being done with Once Upon a Time in Wonderland and possibly bringing these characters over to Once Upon a Time or the ones that they want. I hope she's not dead. I would like to see her come back in some way, whether it's a sacrifice with somebody or if Jafar is able to break the rules of magic, kind of maybe go back in time. Because that's what I feel like Jafar will do. Is I feel like he'll go back in time.
I want to see time travel on Once Upon a Time in general.
That's awesome.
I think that would be awesome.
Other than flashbacks, just like an actual rewind.
Yeah. And I still want to see Aladdin and Jasmine.
I do too.
Please.
I do too.
Please.
We've been to Agrabah.
Go to Agrabah.
Let's go there.
Spend a little more time there. Thank you.
Okay. I think Red Queen is not dead. Because I think Jafar is going to bring her back for something to get, something's going to go down. She's not dead because she's still there. I think because there was that one scene where Cora was teaching Red Queen how to use magic. And fear is the fuel to the fire, literally. And we know Jabberwocky likes to feed on fear. And Cora said something, you have to use the fear, as power, that drive. And I think because the Red Queen's not dead, she's going to be alive. She's going to use that fear that the Jabberwocky's using and turn it on the Jabberwocky and to stop the Jabberwocky in that way to defeat the Jabberwocky. So that's what I think.
Oh, I just had a realization. I do think that that something that looking back at your past and thinking about trying to change your past is going to be a big theme in the finale because Anastasia has that conversation with Jafar's dad about wanting to change the past. And it seems to be this is the big overthreading theme in this episode, that people have things in the past that they regret or they want to change.
We might move sideways, go backwards. I feel very lost. As in, I feel like it's going to be something like that happened in Lost. The sideways world, the past world, the future. It's all jumbled. But I'm excited. It's bringing this episode. We were very critical of this episode, but I really, really enjoyed it. I did.
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
I think this episode definitely posed a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Which I
still
like. That's what I
have to
love.
be answered.
Absolutely.
Yes. Where can they find you guys?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KeatonM33.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
I'm on Twitter as @123Jackie_B, and just to make it difficult, on Instagram I'm @123JackieB, all one word. Thank you for listening to us tonight.
Woo!
Have a wonderful Wonderland night
And weekend.
and weekend.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.